All right, let's get right into it. It doesn't matter what your strategy is, what you're trading, or how long you've been doing it. Every single trader eventually has to face their toughest opponent, and that opponent is themselves. It's the one constant in the chaos of the markets. But here's the good news. This isn't some battle you just have to suffer through. It's a battle you can actually win. You just need the right tools and, more importantly, the right mindset. So today, we're going to break down exactly how you can get that critical psychological edge. And it all starts with a feeling I bet every single one of us has had. Take a look at this from a Reddit user. I mean, who doesn't know exactly what they're talking about? That itch, that irresistible pull of FOMO, the fear of missing out. It's not just in your head, right? You can actually feel it. And that's ground zero. That's where the fight really begins. So that brings us right into our first section, the emotional battlefield. Think about it. Before you even click a button to place a trade, you're stepping onto this field. And the opponent? Well, it's your own mind. And it knows every single one of your weak spots. And you know what? Sometimes that weakness is surprisingly specific. For this trader, the trigger is 3 losses. That's it. 3 in a row, and boom, all those carefully built walls of discipline just start to crumble. That's when you start breaking your own rules. You get into revenge trading, desperately trying to claw back what you lost, which, let's be honest, almost always just digs a deeper hole. And then there's the flip side of that coin. If it's not that fiery, aggressive revenge trading, it's this, a total shutdown. That feeling of being completely defeated, where the market just feels impossible to beat. It's not even about being angry anymore. It's just pure exhaustion. You get that analysis paralysis, where you're just frozen, second-guessing every single thought, terrified of making one more mistake. So, look, whether it's that frantic itch of FOMO, the hot anger of revenge trading, or just that heavy, cold feeling of being defeated, these are universal. If you felt any of this, you are not alone. Not by a long shot. It's kind of the secret language that all traders speak. Okay, so how do we fight back against all this? That's what Section 2 is all about. Rules, rituals, and reframes. This is where we start building our defenses. Think of it like building a fortress of discipline to protect you from yourself. All right, the foundation of this fortress? It's just a few simple, non-negotiable rules. Step 1, have a plan. And please, actually read it before you start trading. Step 2, set your max loss before you enter. Know exactly where you're getting out and treat that line like it's sacred. Step 3, journal everything. And I don't just mean your entry and exit points. I mean, how are you feeling? Why'd you take that trade? Were you greedy? Anxious? Write it down. And finally, step 4, know your breaking point. When you hit it, you have to walk away. Take a mandatory break, hit the reset button. But, rules are only half of it. The other half is something called reframing. And honestly, this is a total game changer. Here's the core idea. A loss is not a personal failure. It doesn't say anything about your worth. It's just data. That's it. It's the market giving you critical feedback on your strategy. The second you can disconnect your ego from the outcome, that's when you can really start to learn. This brings us to our third section, which I'm calling the science of Zen trading. We hear this advice all the time, right? Be mindful, stay calm. But does any of that Zen stuff actually work when there's real money on the line? Well, let's see what the science has to say. I mean, it's a totally fair question, isn't it? It's easy to be calm and collected when you're on a winning streak. But what about when the market turns against you and your account is bleeding red? Does all that mindfulness stuff actually hold up under real pressure? Okay, so the science here is actually fascinating. They ran a study that mimics the high-pressure decisions you have to make in trading. The results were crystal clear. Take a look. For the people who don't meditate, if they were in a bad mood, their decision-making scores totally tanked. Now look at the meditators, their scores stayed high no matter what mood they were in. And that's the key. Mindfulness doesn't make your emotions disappear. It just stops them from grabbing the steering wheel and hijacking your decisions. So we've got this powerful, science-backed tool for our defense. But here's the thing about the truly great traders. They don't just play defense. They go on offense. And this is where we get to the next level. Dr. Brett Steenbarger, a huge name in this field, calls this trading psychology 2.0, and it's a massive shift in thinking. It's moving away from just trying to avoid mistakes and moving toward actively building the processes that create success. It's not about wrestling your worst self into submission. It's about empowering your best self. So what does that actually look like in practice? It means you're proactively working on these 4 areas. First, adaptability. Recognizing the market is always changing, so you have to evolve with it. Second, playing to your strengths. Figuring out what you're genuinely good at and doubling down on that, instead of just trying to copy some guru. Third is creativity. Finding new ways to look at the market to spot opportunities that other people miss. And finally, self-management, and this is huge. Treating yourself like a professional athlete, optimizing your mind and body for peak performance. So you see, this whole journey, it's really about moving from a few individual practices to building a complete, holistic process for mastering yourself. And this really is the ultimate takeaway, summed up perfectly by Dr. Steenbarger himself. The quest to master the markets, it really just forces you down the path of mastering yourself. It's not just about the money. Every single rule you follow, every emotion you manage, every new idea you have is a step on that bigger journey. Because in the end, that's what the market is. All those charts, all those prices, all that data, it's all just a giant mirror. And it reflects everything right back at you. Your fears, your greed, your discipline, your creativity. So the final question, the one that really matters, isn't what's the market going to do next? It's a question for you. What process will you build to master that reflection?